Hey folks, I'm Sarah and I'm on the 2025 jury for what I think is the best book prize for literary fiction from small presses. It's called the Republic of Consciousness Prize, United States and Canada, and it is dedicated to literary fiction from small presses in North America. Over the next few months, I will be sharing every single book nominated for the prize, and while I can't share my personal opinions on each book just yet, I will share enough details so that you can get to know the book and the publisher. Every book gets its very own video, and you are not going to want to miss a single one. Next up is book number 42, a complete fiction by Maizes, published by IG Publishing. The title of this novel tells you so much of what you need to know about this story. This book opens with an aspiring novelist, a woman named PJ, who sees a post online about a book that recently sold for $1 million book deal, and she recognizes the name of the author, a man named George. And PJ, without having read this book from George, because it's not published yet, accuses him of stealing her idea for a novel because, as you see, George was an editor at another publisher where PJ had submitted her novel for consideration for publication. And the basic details of the novels were close enough that she suspects that George rejected her novel and then went on and wrote a similar one of his own to have it published with $1 million book deal. Because PJ does this publicly through social media, immediately there are calls for George's cancellation. So George is canceled, he loses his job, his book deal is in jeopardy. However, PJ actually based her as of yet unpublished novel on the devastating sexual assault of her sister. And PJ wrote this novel without the permission of her sister. And this too goes public. And so PJ is suddenly left in a bit of the hot seat as well. And to top it all off, there are things about George's book that PJ and George's story that PJ does not know or realize. Things about George's background and his history and his own trauma that PJ isn't aware of when she accuses him publicly. This is told in alternating perspectives, giving both PJ and George's points of view. It's heartfelt and really funny, and it dives into some really timely and important topics such as Me Too, cancel culture, and also the precarious position writers can find themselves in within the massive publishing industry, the massive publishing machine, especially debut or aspiring writers. R.L. Maizes is the author of an award-winning debut novel called Other People's Pets and has written short stories and essays as well. She is a Virginia Center for the Creative Arts Fellow and the recipient of a fellowship grant from the Memorial Foundation for Jewish Culture for 2024-2025 for a novel in progress. She was born in Queens, New York, and lives in Boulder, Colorado with her husband and her cat and dog, who she calls her muses. And IG Publishing was founded in 2002. They are a New York-based and award-winning independent press dedicated to publishing original literary fiction and political and cultural nonfiction. One of the big questions this novel asks is who gets to write what, who has the right to tell certain stories, but more importantly, not just tell certain stories, but also publish and make money off of certain stories. Who has that right? This is such a perennial and rich subject, and it's great to have a whole novel about it that deals with such a complex topic with a lot of nuance and thoughtfulness. I'm really curious to hear your perspective on using humor and maybe a more lighthearted tone to deal with topics and subjects and themes that are really quite explosive or have the potential to be really explosive topics. It is definitely a choice that has to be handled delicately, and this novel absolutely does acknowledge that the themes and the subjects that are presented here are heavy issues, but it is in a lot of ways a really lighthearted tone used like as an approach to tackle these themes. In my opinion, I think that allows a reader going into it to maybe lower their walls a little bit, maybe let down their guard, and not immediately get bent out of shape about subjects they probably have really deeply held opinions on. The humor kind of eases you into what are really difficult subjects. And maybe as a result, it's easier to absorb some of the complexity and nuance that exists within these heavier subjects. I am so curious to hear if you have examples of other books that do this, that use humor and maybe a more lighthearted approach to tackle particularly heavy themes. I would love to hear your examples in the comments below, and this is my example for you. And that's just one of many incredible books nominated by one of many incredible publishers. The long list of 10 books is usually announced in mid-January-ish, but I guarantee you there are going to be more than 10 amazing books from these nominees. So if you love offbeat, under-the-radar literary fiction, you are going to want to follow along. Click above or below for the next nominated book. If I've filmed it, it'll be available there. If not, stay tuned for just a little while longer. And in the meantime, you can click the playlist below that will contain all of the nominated books that I've shared so far. Again, my name is Sarah. Thank you so much for joining me here. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.